Today I'm here with my dear friend Pete of Silver Tree Forest Farm, which is a really amazing, diverse farm up in Auburn, New York. And he and his wife Erin and their young son do a ton of different beautiful farming practices. They've got annuals and perennials, but you also do mushroom spawn inoculation. And so he brought down, this is one of their many products that they offer is wine cap spawn. And today Pete's going to share with us some really neat and simple strategies for how to take this spawn and get it inoculated into garden beds and walkways, as well as burlap and other neat things. I'm excited to learn from you today on this, Pete.
Great. So the wine cap spawn is grown throughout sawdust. That's what's in this bag, is sawdust being rotted. And it's really pretty easy to inoculate. We're going to break this apart and mix it in with wood chips, and we'll show you we can layer it in between burlap. You can do this with cardboard if you want to spread it. The primary way is to inoculate a bed with wood chips. You can use straw or hay, but wood chips are a lot better. This block has all been bound together by the mycelium, the mushroom. It's all one firm block, but once we take it apart, look at that. It looks great.
Oh my gosh.
And it will crumble.
It smells so sweet too. Such a lovely smell.
It really has a distinct smell. So it's going to grow through and eat all of this wood chip. You need enough wood chip on top to keep it moist. And it really likes a kind of a dirty environment. It's going to eat bacteria. It'll eat up excess nutrients. So to prep your spot, you could start on bare soil or start on a grass patch or something, but you want to get down to close to the soil. It's as easy as it is. This bag will spread and inoculate, I don't know, up to 50 square feet, but we usually stick with a bag per a 4x8 bed. And then it will just inoculate. It'll grow faster in that bed. The heavier you put it down, the faster it will grow. So I like to do it about like that. This is it. If I had straw, I would spread straw on top and wet the straw, make sure it was nice and wet. And then I would put the wood chips on top of the straw and keep that wet. It will eat through the straw quite quickly, so you want to make sure you do have wood chips also. There. That is pretty much a guarantee that in a few weeks, Sean will be able to dig down in here and he'll see that it has grown and that mycelium will have attached itself to the wood chips and will start to move through and eat it. And that is a guaranteed inoculation. Pretty guaranteed.
So a question would be, this could be, when we say bed, we're normally thinking about like a garden bed, but it could just be an area filled with wood chips. But if we're in a garden, it could be a wood chip walkway. Like we could be inoculating every walkway with this. Is that the idea?
Yes, and we primarily use it in our walkways. It's ideal to grow them in the shade. It'll stay moist longer, and the color of the cap of your mushroom will differ if it grows up in the sunlight. It'll bleach out, and it's no less edible, it's just a different color. So a shade bed is great. For our purposes in our farm, it's just easier to put them through all of our walkways. All of our walkways are wood chip. And from some of the farms we're learning from, we practice no-till farming. To inoculate our pathways, the mushrooms will breathe out carbon dioxide just like we do. And in the height of photosynthesis, where there's plenty of sunlight and plenty of moisture, carbon dioxide can become a limiting factor for your plants. So having these grow in the pathways, like in our high tunnel, can give carbon dioxide to our tomato and pepper plants where they might otherwise be lacking it because we're not out there chatting with them enough. So pathways, if you mulch your bushes everywhere, it will eat up the wood chip. It'll turn it into soil much faster than it would if the wood chip was by itself. So you will want to feed it again. I imagine if you were to make a proper bed for just keeping wine caps, you would probably inoculate in the spring, and then it would eat them up and give you mushrooms later in that summer. And then in the fall, you might want to feed it wood chips again so that it has a nice blanket for the winter, and then come next spring, it's ready to go and has enough food. We're usually using them in pathways and around the bushes, so we're remulching those spots anyway. I need your burlap. No, we both have burlap. There's so much burlap.
There's enough burlap.
But I'm going to take these burlaps. Your mushroom spawn needs to stay moist. So we want to spread it through these burlap sacks. It'll just rip through this. It'll eat this right up. When we inoculate this, if we don't then, in a few weeks, separate these and use these to inoculate other places, it'll just disintegrate these rather quickly. But they're dry right now, so we have to start with them wet.
This could be cardboard or paper or old sheets or old clothing and stuff, if that's what people have.
The corrugated cardboard and the porous nature of these is really nice. The mushrooms really like that.
Okay. So now they're sanitized.
For so much sterile mushroom cultivation in the world, this is
not that.
far from it.
Do you have to have a dog constantly stepping on it, or is it okay if you don't?
It helps.
Okay. So wet cardboard or burlap, but you want it, if it's cardboard, then you'd want to wet it down first.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Now sometimes this will work with just the burlap because it's just going to be very happy in here. But what I've also done is I'll take some degraded wood chips or some compost even and add that in there because it's going to latch onto every piece of wood chip in here.
Garden soil, if that's what you
Garden
had?
soil will be fine.
Or potting mix or something?
Yep.
Okay.
And then I'll take the next one. This is a different material. More. Break it up, spread that around.
And you can make as many layers of this as you have material for, I guess.
Yeah, I've made a big stack of it, and then in a few weeks you're peeling them apart and taking them. You can cut them up and put little pieces. Once the mushrooms grow as well, when you pluck a mushroom out of the ground, the stem butt will come out with it. And you can take that and go and stick that elsewhere in mulch, and that will grow. And once you've inoculated your bed and then it's growing, you'll be able to dig up some of that wood chip and spread that elsewhere also. It's really easy to multiply this.
And we're inoculating here. It's later April. This is a good window in the Northeast or in a cooler climate. We could hope for or expect fruiting maybe this fall. Is that possible?
It certainly by the fall, if not in the summer.
Oh, even sooner.
It's quite possible that it will go much sooner.
Wow.
And that will also depend on how heavy you put the spawn down. If you spread it as far as you're able to spread it, and put it down more thin, then it's going to take longer for it to grow and it'll take longer for it to make mushrooms. If you concentrate it, then it's going to grow together faster and make mushrooms faster.
Gotcha.
So, nice rotting sandwich.
We could cover that with wood chips, I guess, if we wanted, if it was getting dry or...
Yeah, you'll want to keep it moist. If we don't get rain, then you'll want to water it. Any water is fine. Any water is better than no water.
Pete, thank you so much for all this information and for spiking our landscape with wine cap mushrooms. They used to grow here. I think they kind of ran out of steam or ran out of fuel, so it's nice to have the new life back in the landscape.
They're perennial and they'll keep coming back, but they need food and they move around and they fade in places, they show up in others, but...
Now, if folks were interested in getting into growing these, you have spawn. Folks, if you want to get wine cap mushrooms, you have learned from Pete how straightforward and easy it is to inoculate either substrate to move to other areas or just directly into wood chips. And it's a lovely nursery. They've got annual starts, they have spawn, they've got so many wonderful things. Please check them out.
Here's some spawn. Have some rotting sawdust.